keeping the mental, stability, in check is really important in this industry. Because there's gonna be a lot of people that want to like shake you or even the crowd sometimes, and that's because they don't know. Do you understand? So you got to respect that. So I guess it's time for me to start talking now. That's why I'm coming out a lot more, doing more podcasts. I never used to talk. Yeah. I've done, maybe a couple this year, but I've turned down hundreds of podcasts over the last 2 years, because everybody wanted to know what happened with Afronation. Yeah. Everybody wanted to know the story of Smade. But I think it's time now for us to educate, everyone out there to know the story and the journey, and how far we've come. At some point, I was the only one carrying the flag for Afrobeats in this country. And it was so tough because I was getting hate from my brothers. I was getting hate from my friends. People that thought like they were doing something better than what I was doing was just trying to shut me down. And, well, listen, it takes a lot of, passion and genuine love for the game to be here.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
No, I'm blessed.
Oh, yeah, we just cut that out.
All right, cool. What episode is this now? 339.
Let me double check for y'all.
I think it's 339. Actually, no, don't worry about it because this is... Yeah, it's 339 actually, because remember we're recording tomorrow as well.
Taking pictures with that too.
Yeah, the brand,
Yeah, Daniel Drapier.
Wait, something like
Picture look wavy still.
Yeah, sick.
I know you're fuming about the shoes though.
And those are but it's what it is.
I know. The boots were alright, but them boots there.
Where? But you saw a little bit anyway.
I know you did it on purpose, didn't it? You hit the shoe.
No, but
I know you, bro.
Nah, yeah, but the thing is, I hear you.
You hit the shoe,
I
bro.
hear you. Guilty. So that is me. Tazer's that one. Okay, Keith. All right. What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of the Free Shots Tequila podcast with myself, Marvin Abbey. Who else we got in the studio?
Mr. Exposed.
And Tazer Black.
And we've got some very, very special guests. We've got one returning and one making their debut. Can we just know your name, guys, and where you're from?
Listen, I'm the returnee, so I'll start this one. Shout out to 3 Shots Tequila, Shopsy, Dube. They call me the Energy God, and some people call me Adi Shopper. So it's a pleasure to be here once again. I feel like a superstar now. I come in here a second time.
Hey guys, shout out to everyone in the room. Shout out to the viewers. I go by the name Smade.
Big Smade in the house.
Humble.
Hey, big Smade in the house, you know.
Listen, I think I finally made it to be on this thing.
Hey, tapping, please. Make sure
it's real.
Might be a hologram or something.
Tell them it's real.
So, just to start off with, I was going to start off with Afronation, but there's a drink on the table here. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you here as well, because I've seen you posting it. And obviously we always want to promote within the culture and whatever. So just let us know what it is in terms of, it's called Energy God, right?
Yes, it is. It's called the Energy God. It's an energy drink. I just decided that, listen, rather than chasing endorsements and looking for endorsements, we could do this now. We have the hip hop culture to learn from. Yeah. We have even the Black British culture to learn from as well. We see what's happening with Kick Game, with the likes of Fredo. We see Krypton Conan. We see Charlie Sloth. It's about time that we within the culture start to take advantage of the growth and the success of Afrobeats and probably a little bit of the notoriety that we have. A lot of people ask me where I get my energy from. I love energy drinks. I think I drank it too much. So I just thought, listen, people call me the Energy God anyway. Let me start to look at things that my retirement plan. And this is where that idea came out. Let's put a name by a drink, a brand, and just push it out there and take it to the next level. Let's invest. If we believe in the culture, we believe in ourselves, then it's time to really just test the waters and see what we can do with it.
And Nigerians tend to support each other as well, for example. So like, I'm sure there'll be clubs in Nigeria that would have this drink because it's a Nigerian brand.
First of all, you know, my brother Smade is here. You know, that was the first place I'm like, listen, bro, if I've got an energy drink, man, like, listen, before I go selling to anybody else, I need you to clear all the energy drinks in your Smade lounge out now. We're only stocking this one. So you start with home base. And then, you know, the other encouragement that I had was with the artists, with the entertainers, your Wizkids and co, who, you know, Wizkids UBA endorsement is $3 million. Davido and them lot are getting £5 million for Puma and stuff. Each one of them did adverts for me for nothing. You know, they wanted to encourage people within the culture to start to look at these things and take it there. So that for me was like a massive encouragement. Not only people that are close to me like Smade, but even people like that see it and telling me behind the closed doors that we need a lot more of this. We need people to start owning spirits. We saw what P. Diddy did with Ciroc. I watched the first video with Ciroc in it. It was the Day 26 video from Making a Band that P. Diddy just put 2 bottles of Ciroc. Fast forward to 3 or 4 years ago, was selling 6 billion cases a year. One of the fastest growing, you know, brands in the world. And that's off of the hip hop culture. Afrobeats is fast rising. Let's just do what we can with it. And there you have it, the energy god.
You know that you said, you touched on Afrobeats is fast rising.
Yeah.
So one girl that I know went to Manchester for Crep's birthday over the weekend, yeah? And she put up a story around, I think the next morning. She was like, there's something happening right now that I don't like. She's Caribbean. She was like, I was in the club and she literally heard Afrobeats for like the whole night. And bashment was probably playing for about 20 minutes. And she's like, oh, what's going on with the bashment scene? I don't know, but listen, we're here, man. We are here. It's about time.
Man said, we outside.
It's about time. Because I remember when it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Now, bro, even Danky sounds like there was a DJ that played I'm a piano and Afrobeats, yeah. But like it was a shake. Oh my! The guys got backed.
And
Listen,
Davido,
Let me tell you the craziest thing over the last 3 days that a lot of people even haven't noticed. But people like me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, if you look at videos of, there's this photographer called Johnny Nunez. He's the most famous photographer in hip hop. He takes all the iconic pictures. If you go and follow him on his page, he was at the Grammys. He was the one that took all the pictures with Beyonce, Jay-Z. Whilst he's taking pictures, he also has a camera that records videos. So you can hear him telling them, please, can you stand together? Hey, Kendrick, whilst he's taking pictures. This Rema's blasting. You know, Wizkid is blasting. Ira Star's blasting. During the breaks at the Grammy Awards, that's blasting throughout.
I'm on radio every Saturday. Yeah? The playlist is
crazy.
always Afrobeats. But it's always Burna Boy, Ira Star, Shake, DJ Snake, like, bruv, all of these forever on the playlist.
But you know what it is? I think the difference is, I feel like a lot of West Indians have got a problem with Afrobeat. Not a lot, I can't say a lot, some, because I haven't done a poll. Some have a problem. I don't understand why there's a problem, because there's space for both of us. But I think the issue is, Afrobeat is very PC. So you can play Afrobeat to anyone, a kid of 7, kid of 8, wherever on radio, whereas maybe some bashment lyrics are kind of
vulgar,
can be a bit vulgar sometimes, which is for adults is cool. But to be on radio, if you're talking about pom pom and whatever, do you know what I'm saying?
And I feel like it's just
or suck your mother or this, or do you know what I'm saying? Which is for us in a rave, you can do this, but on radio it's like, because I know Keith loves
basically.
I prefer
What you're trying to say is Afrobeats is a language that everyone can speak.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of the ages and all that, and you know, like bashment, you have to like, you know, cut a lot of words out when you're playing it on radio.
And I think Afrobeats at the moment is even more commercially viable. I think we're in that pop phase where, you know what I mean, where you're like, they're just dropping banger after banger after banger, because I feel like there's a formula and they have the formula. And that's literally it. And it happens with, you know what I mean, with different things at different times. People just need to take in that but I'm saying like the Afrobeats artists have the juice right now. They have the formula and they're just knocking out tune after tune.
Also, it's the new sound that, you know, when it comes to the mainstream, everyone's tired of what's been there before. So what's popping and what's fresh, what's trending right now? Afrobeats.
And Afrobeats has found, I'd say, a new life essentially in terms of, when something's being refined. Where Afrobeats has been doing well for a very long time, but I feel like now, you've been tweaking something, and you find that recipe to mainstream it.
That's what I wanted to say now. Like, some of the dancehall superstars have expressed a little displeasure with the fact that Afrobeats is doing what it's doing. And in some cases, I understand their frustration. Someone like Shaggy was on Breakfast Club. We saw how Beenie Man reacted to when ZZ Mills put some questions towards him as well. There's a little, they feel tense.
Animosity.
And I understand. Why? Because a lot of the Afrobeats artists and the major Afrobeats hits records bite a lot from dancehall and reggae. Wizkid is a reggae artist. A lot of people forget that. Burna Boy is straight up Jamaica. Like, he's Kingston, patois and everything. So what has happened is, yes, these guys make a little bit of reggae and dancehall, but they've added the African element to it, the PC lyrics, then the different types of beats where Closer has R&B in it. So we're sampling so many sounds and mixing it with the African. So it makes it palatable to different people. Last is Afrobeats, but the sample was Tony Braxton. So for anybody who loved Tony Braxton, instantly, you're awake. And I think that was the formula that you're talking about, the fact that people have latched onto that. And then, thank God, we've had situations where Afrobeats, for me, I've always bigged up, like, the black women. Black women feel comfortable with something, everybody goes with it. They're the culture drivers.
But can we also add, because this is another thing that I like about the whole Afrobeats as well, because remember, there's a lot of men that are like the Caribbean side, they don't know what it's like back home, as in Nigeria. So when we're looking I'm looking at Ashake, for example, he looks like an area boy. And I respect that. He's being himself. A lot of artists from Nigeria are just being themselves, but they're on the main stage now. So everyone's looking at them like, is that his style? It's like, yes, fresh crop. It's not stepped on. This is my man. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't speak English, for example. Do you know what I'm saying?
Also the fact that it connects you to the culture, to your DNA, and there's so much to learn about Afrobeats. Not just the sound, not just the music, the fashion, the food, the film. Every corner of the African culture is like, boom,
just coming in.
So it's like we've been locked out for a long time, and now it's time for us to be
comfortable.
Do you know what I think it is as well?
Proud Africans.
I think what is Afrobeat as well, I feel like everything's connected at the right time. So I feel like what's happening now is just a culmination of just every aspect coming in at the right time. Remember, a lot of people are returning to Africa, like as in Ghana December, Nigeria December. So that's coupled with Afrobeat, it's coupled with Afrobeats in the charts, it's coupled with people eating food. Like, there's so many aspects to it that it's kind of like, it just makes sense for it to explode at the same time. If this was maybe 10 years ago, it might not have been the same. There might have been like one artist that done his thing, but people were like, I'm not going to Africa. So there would have been a disconnect somewhere where right now everything is connecting. I remember in terms of Africans, we're prominent everywhere. So there's a lot of Nigerians, for example, in the UK, in New York, in Maryland, in this place. Then you've got a lot of Ghanaians.
Everywhere.
So Africans tend to, like, although there's different countries, we kind of celebrate each other together. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then even coupled with Afro Nation as well. So like all these things have happened to
even Girls Trip too. They're shooting in Ghana. So you got like big celebrities in America, like celebrities that you look up to, Jada Pinkett. Who else is in it as well?
They're filming it
in Ghana.
Queen Latifah.
Look at Breakfast. Look at Breakfast Club. Since Charlemagne returned this Christmas, every day for a minimum of 20 days, he's spoken about his Ghana trip, his strip club experience, the food, every day.
Yeah, he said the customer service was a bit slow though.
Yeah, but he also said...
Customer service in Ghana is, whoa,
but let me tell you...
When you go there at a time when it's so overwhelming.
Exactly.
Nah, I heard it's like that normally, man. Sorry, please. Sorry, please.
My problem is, when we go to Ghana, especially coming from London, everybody wants to go to like the hot places. Shout outs to all those beautiful restaurants, the Japanese. A friend of mine said, are we gonna have Japanese? I said, Japanese? I'm in Ghana. So I took Smade. I was like, Smade and other guys. I said, you guys are going to come with me. I'm taking you to the streets. We're not going no posh. If you see the pictures of the place where we went to eat, we were using one hand to eat, one hand to chase flies.
But the food tastes good though.
Bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was too much.
Come on, man.
We went to, there was a,
when you know you're in Ghana.
exactly. People are going to
I
restaurants
can't
where
know I've been Ghana without the flies, no?
they took me to a restaurant where people had to wait. You had to wait outside to be sat. Like you have to wait. There's a waiting line.
Because the service,
it's
the
so
service.
packed. It was so packed.
I'm joking.
And I'm looking upstairs. I'm seeing all our London ladies. You know, they're already
chilling.
Instagram. I'm like, nah, this ain't it.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. I think you just said something that's pretty cool because when you think of supporting the economy or doing whatever, you want to go out there and support, you know, the locals in the
people.
area, and that's outside of the
Absolutely.
mainstream stuff. Because
Yeah.
those are the people I wouldn't say that needed the most essentially, but
But they
those are
needed
the
the
people that
most.
stand to benefit.
I agree, but I also think that everyone needs to benefit.
To touch.
Because
Everybody needs
it's about understanding, also touching down to the locals, like to the rurals.
Yeah.
Like we can be around the airport, we can be around all the flashy hotels, but let's also go and see,
market.
the marketplace. Let's go see like the country as it
shop
is.
bars.
Because one thing about people that go to Lagos don't even touch down to the mainland.
telling
Don't
you.
even want to go. Obviously, do you understand what I'm saying? So when you go to Ghana, you need to touch down all those bukas, all those marketplaces, and understand the culture.
And let the money flow out there.
It's
as
part
well.
of the
Absolutely.
experience of traveling,
Absolutely.
going away.
No, definitely. I think that, that is really, really important. And I think sometimes a lot of people miss it because they end up being in a place that sometimes you end up in all of the nice bits so much you don't feel like you've been
Yes,
Ghana essentially because you
correct.
feel like you've just been isolated in this place where you don't get to see the beauty of everything else.
I went out one night and I saw Chance the Rapper at 4 different events the same night. By the 4th event, we were almost hugging each other like, yo, bro, what's happening? Bro? Like, we almost became family. Everybody's going to the same place, the same clubs. Front, back, play,
Listen,
switch, this, that.
Bro, because of Ghana, my sleep pattern is finished. Like,
Don't blame that on Ghana.
What?
Does this man sleep? Apart from you sleeping in your car everywhere you go, bro, you have no sleep pattern.
No. Brother, Ghana is, when you go to Ghana, it's different. Like, normally when you go on a holiday, you might go to Dubai, you might go to America, you have the time difference, you might have a late night where it's 4 a.m. their time. You're like, let me go to bed. Ghana, bro, 4 a.m., you're saying, where is the next spot? That's what you're saying at 4 a.m. Then at 6 a.m., people are saying,
unbelievable.
what, you going Ace? Jesus. All right, cool, let's go Ace. What's the other one? There's Ace. There's
Front, back, play,
no, there's another one.
Switch.
Twist.
twist.
So
Yeah.
the 2 late ones are Ace or Twist. But the people are, it's 9 a.m., you're getting into the crowd, man, on tables, dancing like this, 9
do you sleep?
a.m.
It's crazy.
You get sleep at like 10 a.m.,
Yeah,
10,
it's crazy.
10,
It's
11.
called Dirty December, guys. Come on.
For me,
Wake up, man.
For me, I can
You won't go in January and see that. It's December.
I tell people you have to know your portion. For me, I would be finished out there.
No,
I
but
couldn't do
I
it.
swear to you, you're not, because for me, like, I was thinking,
I think it's the weather
I'm
as
going to
well.
be knackered, but for some reason, you just get with the program.
You can
like,
outdo me anyway over here, bro. I can barely survive here. so I'm
Bro,
not
they'll drag you along. I left these guys in a venue. I went to them. We were all standing, and I was just looking. I started to sway back and forth. I'm thinking, bro, I'm gonna collapse here.
Yeah.
So I looked at them and I said, man, I'm leaving. And I left them, the whole team, security guards, I left on my own, bro.
Do you know what?
Sleep.
Sorry to go off topic here. I just got to have a question before we start talking about Afro Nation. Yeah, how do you do the glasses? Because I try, it does. Bro, after 2 minutes, I can't see nothing. It's got to come off. How do you do it?
Well, I've been doing it for as long as I've been in the UK doing the parties.
And you can do it in nightclubs.
Every day. Every day, every night.
Did your eyesight
everywhere.
adjust?
No.
So what I tend to do is, it's personal to me. Like, it's an image I've created for myself over the years. Like, everybody sees me, they know he's got the shades on. Now they know, they see me with the beards in the last 10 years. But I personally use it to block energies.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm out every time. Like, I want to keep something for myself, for my family. So this is all what everyone else sees. You know, you got to be personal to me to see me take off my hat off, take off my glasses. You know, so you got to keep something for your family. So it's me, you know, kind of like blocking off energies and, you know, understanding people and what they're coming with.
Yeah, reading.
Do you understand? So when I get comfortable with you, maybe before the end of this, I'll take it off. But,
but man said, but right now,
let's just... let's not take it easy.
But it makes sense though, because even at times where like I'll wear, if I'm going somewhere and I'm like, I don't want to see people, I'll put glasses on.
Yeah, but at some point,
remember,
I can't see, bro.
I can look at you. You can't see me looking at you, so I can see you coming, and I'm like,
from that, I was able to create my own, you know, Smade shades. So these are samples of it. So I got my own Smade shades now. So that's coming up soon. So
you know when you think of business, businessman, like,
it looks like
when you think of businessman, Smade is it. Like, you know, you open a dictionary, you say businessman, Smade is there with the beard and the shades like this.
Should I tell you something? There was a picture of him like dancing on his wedding day. That picture went viral so badly that the state government in Nigeria took the picture off Instagram and made it into billboards in Nigeria saying, "Welcome to Lagos."
Serious?
Just from creating your own image.
That's
different.
Incredible. No, when I saw the shade.
And that was a picture that went viral as a Yoruba demon.
As a Yoruba demon. So if you Google Yoruba demon, that's what you see.
Man said, "Oh yeah, print it, slap it on the freeway, slap it."
You know, I'm actually happy now that I've topped that from being called Yoruba demon to African King. So if you Google African King now, you can see my image in there. Yeah, but for a long time it was Yoruba demon.
What do we need to do, bro? What?
No, when I saw the thingy, when I saw the shades, I was thinking of, you know, Ray J in the interview where he's got the shades. And I said, "They're unbreakable." I said, "Break them."
I didn't broke.
I don't care.
"Break them." I said, "Break them. They're unbreakable. I'm gonna break them." And he broke them. I don't care. I don't care.
It is mad though, because Smade has a unique look, as in like you can see Smade from anywhere and you know him.
Yeah.
Like I could be down the road and be like, "Ah, Smade."
Yeah.
Okay, so how did it start? Before we get to Afronation, the beginning of the birth of Smade, the brand. I've heard it from
The name's synonymous
22,
as well.
Yeah.
21, 22. I've heard it from those
21,
days.
22.
Yeah, West End days. I used to hear it.
That was like how many years ago?
12 years
10,
ago,
12?
13 years ago.
Okay.
I wasn't in that scene.
When was the first time you heard of Smade?
Do you know what it is? I think roughly the same. Yeah, West End days.
West End days, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm going West End, and then it will be like after party. We're going to that side. You remember there was always that
Yes.
side, Cocoa Bar, Cocoa Chore, that side.
The
Like,
Afrobeats.
I'm going home. I gotta go home.
Steam Bar was the one in Paddington.
I've done so. In fact, all the clubs in London. I was
Yeah.
showing Shopsy the other day. I had a book. I call it my Bible, not the Holy Bible, but the Smade Bible, where I put a lot of ideas into, where I write a list of all the concert venues, festival venues, or all the clubs that I've done, and it was going on to the next page, the next page, the next page. I've done number 1 Leicester Square. I've done Ortega. I've done Jaeger Bar. I don't know if you know all these venues in the city. There was one at Agenda Bar.
Yeah, I know
remember
Agenda.
Agenda.
I remember Agenda.
So
Market
many.
Bar,
like
Mustard-
even LA
Mustard
Lounge.
Bar.
Mustard Bar.
Yeah.
We launched LA Lounge when it was called
40.
Governor Bar.
I remember.
I remember Governor Bar.
It was 40.
Yeah.
My first ever club,
Governor.
KFC nightclub in Oakland Road. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
That's
I ain't
the-
been there,
that's the
but
deep-
Back then,
Immigration.
Drogba used to.
That if you go to that place and you don't have pay pass,
Listen,
you're most likely going to end
I'll
up in
tell this
Lagos.
story another day.
Police.
The immigration,
Police is
the amount of immigration that goes to that club, dude. Like,
Serious?
oh yeah.
That's where they got.
I was a victim, guys. This is a story for another day. I've been in detention for 30 days, immigration detention,
Serious?
for going to that club.
No, like,
What you just said, we've
bro,
never discussed
make
this.
sure your papers are on point.
So you get to the you get to the door. Where's your ID?
No,
they wait
it's
outside.
when
They
we're
wait
going.
outside.
They target you
The
either on
police
your
and
way
everything,
there
yeah,
or when you're
on your way
leaving.
back.
Oh, raw.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
chilling and waiting.
Even Obi Mikel, when he had the driving
Yeah,
ban,
he was always good.
He was there.
from
He was
KFC
at
nightclub.
KFC. He was
So-
leaving. They just stopped him
But
and said,
to
"Oh, boy,
answer
you
your
been drinking."
question, it was just, it was just a thing of passion. I derived passion from promoting anything African. Like I said earlier, from the food, I've probably worked with every single Nigerian restaurant in the UK, from Anish to Tasties, all Tasties, to Presidential Suya, to Obalende Suya, to, I can list a lot that you guys don't even know, and when it comes to fashion, I'm wearing an African brand right now, promoting African in Me. It's a brand from Canada. I wear the heart a lot, and I've always been promoting it. So Fashion Week as well, African Fashion Week. I've been involved in most of the after parties. I've actually done the wrong way myself. That was a funny one because I'm very, very shy. That's another story behind my glasses. So I started off being shy, but I got used to it, and it helped me kind of come out of my shell, But yeah, I started by doing house parties. It used to be house parties back in the days. It's actually 19 years since I've been in the UK, and 19 years since I've been throwing those house parties. But officially started throwing my own parties in 2006-ish. From those house parties, kind of like delved into the club parties. We're doing monthly parties from Virgo's nightclub, Oaken Road. I don't know if you know that, to Whispers in Elephant and Castle, to Number 1 Leicester Square, to Dollhouse, to walking in Cocoa Bar. That was Claus Bar then.
I remember, I remember that.
And to doing a lot more club parties. We ran the club scene for a long time. And then I met Wizkid, Davido, Olamide, and a lot of other artists that I built relationships with, and that took me to the next level right now, like to start doing concerts. From the concerts, being a marketing student, because that's what I studied in uni, I started like taking this game to the next level now, not just doing what, my predecessors were doing, like people that were there before me, like the Cocoa Bars or the Black Knight. I decided to take it further. Being a student, I wanted to touch every city. So I started going to Manchester, Birmingham. And I was always, looking up to Live Nation. Wanted to be the African Live Nation. There's another story behind that. But that gave me that drive to keep going and to keep doing all those shows. It was really hard at times, I've been doing this for since 2007. That's almost how many years now? Do the math.
15
years. I've been doing, entertainment full time. Before doing entertainment, I used to, while studying, I would do retail work. Worked in Next, Buttons, TK Maxx, did factory work, HMV Apollo, and so many other stuff that I had to do to go through the process to get to where I am. Yeah. While studying, while juggling that, I was also investing in what we all know as Afrobeats today, and I did it at a time when people would laugh at you.
Yep. I remember those times.
When I would be at train stations, outside train stations, making noise, playing music off my speaker with a team of 5, 6 of us, wearing T-shirts, giving out flyers and CDs for people to listen to Afrobeats, begging people, please listen to it. Some people throw it on the floor. We have to go back and pick our pieces. And luckily, during this time, was around the time I met Shopsy, about 10 years ago. He's always been someone that's told me and believed in that drive and dream that I had, that you got something special. I've been watching you. You've been behind so many people. Now it's time for you to go start your own. I think you can do it. So when you have great people like that around you, to actually point out things, and you have to sit back and actually think about it. Like, okay, can you do it? So it was difficult at first, especially the fact that everyone I was working with just wanted to shut me down, you know, which is a problem we have in our industry.
In our black culture.
In our culture. You know, no one, in fact, in the industry in general.
Sorry to cut you. When you say shut you down, what do you mean? As in people didn't want to help you, or people wanted to just, they didn't?
It wasn't even help.
What was it?
It wasn't help. It was the fact that they know. You
guys coming into the game.
Yeah, they know that, you got the potential of driving this to the next level. So they'll try to block you off, and I've got like receipts for this. You book a place for like a conference or anything, they'll tell them, no, don't go with Smade. Don't book it with Smade. You should come through us. Or, so I went through all of those, phase. But, meeting David, meeting Wiz, and meeting all these artists that I mentioned earlier, and seeing the drive in them and the drive in me was just like, this is it for me. Because I needed people also to believe in the dream and the vision of taking this to the next level. So it wasn't just a dream I had yesterday. Shout out to all the soldiers that have been there before me. Shout out to everyone that's put their time, their efforts, their money into investing in this Afrobeats thing. Shout out to Shopsy Dube. This man has been behind so many individual artists that I've ever seen any one individual person. That's something different that he has. So maybe it's that energy God brings. But guys, that guy is special. This guy right here is special. And when I'm around him a lot, most of the time, we've probably been around each other a lot, especially during the pandemic.
I see he's like training during the pandemic.
Yeah. We're doing so keeping the mental, stability, in check is really important in this industry. Because there's going to be a lot of people that want to like shake you or even the crowd sometimes. And that's because they don't know. Do you understand? So you got to respect that. So I guess it's time for me to start talking now. That's why I'm coming out a lot more, doing more podcasts. I never used to talk. Yeah. I've done, maybe a couple this year, but I've turned down hundreds of podcasts over the last 2 years, because everybody wanted to know what happened with Afronation. Yeah. Everybody wanted to know the story of Smade. But I think it's time now for us to educate, everyone out there to know the story and the journey, and how far we've come. At some point, I was the only one carrying the flag for Afrobeats in this country. And it was so tough because I was getting hate from my brothers. I was getting hate from my friends. People that thought like they were doing something better than what I was doing was just trying to shut me down. And, well, listen, it takes a lot of, passion and genuine love for the game to be here and to have taken Afro Nation to where it is right now and to have opened up a lot of doors for everyone in the culture. So the position is really, really,
Do you know what comes to mind? Is that picture, I don't know if you've seen it, where the guy's digging. There's two guys digging in it. So one's digging and there's literally a diamond, but he just turns around.
The drink. I told him during the pandemic, I said in 2011 and 12, when he started doing concerts and I started working with him closely, we had like huge successes. Whiskey, Davido, Olamide, back to back. It was going crazy. And then we had like a very difficult time in 2017. I think it was 2017 or something, where he decided to, after that traumatic time, he was like, the next year we're doing a concert every single month.
Go on.
So I said to him, it's a case of like, we were digging, people saw us digging in the woods somewhere. Yeah. And everybody knows that this is where oil is. This is R&B, hip hop, bashment. But there's some mad men in the dark, just digging away. And they never believed, and they just said, leave them to it. Those ones are crazy, they go nowhere. Let's keep on facing our gold. Yes. And all of a sudden, we dug to a point where the light shines.
And everybody ran back.
Everybody's now coming back. Like,
that story is similar to that image. So, in addition to what he said, like, I understand, which is okay for people to have doubts about this. But where Afrobeats is going this is just the beginning. because we have numbers, we have talent,
Crazy
we have
numbers.
investors that are still hiding.
Facts.
This is a time for, and I'm not talking about only financial investors. I'm talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us out there. We're still hiding. We're still, whether this is, how far is this going to go? Some people are where some people were 10 years ago because they're just getting to know about this. But those that have been there for 10 years are like, no, this thing is actually growing now. This thing has actually gotten to the, to the spot. Look at Thames in Grammys. She was a Cinderella.
She was the toast of the Grammys.
She was a Cinderella.
Like
everybody wanted her.
Yeah.
She's in fact, she's our Beyonce.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago,
well,
people, if you knew, you knew, but
Bro,
you didn't know on a
I
global.
opened an email today, the first ever email she sent to me in 2019. She only had 2 songs out. Someone sent it to me, and I started playing it on radio here. So I tagged her when she had like 7,000 followers on Instagram. She DM'd me saying, thank you so much. Yeah. And then she took my email and sent me the email. This morning, I just saw it on my stuff, where she's the one sending the song by herself. I still have it here.
Wow. So, mad. So, like, that's an example. And also, I remember there was a show we did at the HMV Apollo in 2016, Olamide show. He came with the YBL and crew, and at that time, they were very hot. They were really hot. They could fill up a 10,000 capacity venue, but we didn't see that coming, isn't it? Because our people were still buying tickets late, so we were overwhelmed. We had over 2,000 people outside without tickets. So people rushed the doors in. I lost everything. Like, this was in 2016. Lost over 150K then.
Of investors' money and everything.
2016, which I had to pay back, and I had to make everybody happy again and rebuild. And rebuild relationships. It was after then that I told Shopsy, because Shopsy was like, and everybody, the whole team was like, what are you gonna do now? Thinking, that's it.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, we did 2 shows this year. We're gonna do 6 next year. So when one goes left, at least we still have 5. Good. And because I understand the position we're in, it's going to be difficult. Because everyone is seeing the rise and the surge in this thing, and not everybody's going to like it. So, and for me, I've always been the man in the front line. The first guy to try this, the first guy to try that. So sometimes it ends up being failures, but it's success to me.
It's going off of that. How do you find that? Because you said you're shy, but I've noticed that whenever you do something, you tend to be the face of it as well. Although it is yours, some people will do something and they're like, you only find out maybe if you know or whatever. But to me, it seems like you're the face of things a lot. Like, how does that work for you? Because if it goes well, it's fine.
It's glory and all
it's
of
glory. If it goes bad,
it's you.
People, even for example, if we want to go into the Afro Nation topic or whatever, I saw people actually firing at you like it was you who done what you done. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you're someone that you seem like a very wise person that you're not gonna bite, you're like, do you know what? What's gonna be handled is gonna be handled. I'm not even gonna argue. But how was that when people are just like coming for you directly? Do you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So,
good question. It's understanding your position. And my position, I've given myself to serve. I understand who I am, first of all. You must know who you are, and you must understand why you're doing this. So, giving myself away, for Afrobeats or this culture, or, representing it is not a joke. It's my life. It's everything I've worked for. So when people come at me, it hurts. It's painful to see that everything that you have given your life for, people can still come and attack you for it. I was in tears. I was depressed. I was in myself because I'm human. I didn't have the money that everyone was coming at me for. But everybody saw me as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because everybody was bored at home, and some were going through pain, and some actually were going through these things.
Yeah.
You know, the way we don't understand. So it's about understanding your position and understanding what's coming, despite the fact that you're in this position. You might not understand what I've just said, but, you know, because I put myself in the front line a lot, I'll be the first person to get the bullets, right? So understanding that, and that's why I went quiet for a while, because I needed to, I was quiet, but I wasn't quiet. I needed to continue. I didn't want those words or those things to break me. I got really, really bad messages. When I say bad messages,
I can imagine, bro.
I got threats. You can't imagine, brother.
Yeah.
You cannot imagine.
It was the worst for me.
I got some screenshots I'm gonna show you guys, and I doubt whether some of you might be able to end this podcast in the right mood. Yeah, like it was bad. I got hate on my mother, and exactly 2 years after she passed
away
last year May. So it's that deep. I got hate on my kids. I got hate on my family. You know, people were trying to just, you know, get rid of me at all costs for a culture, an industry, and something I have done for all of us. This man here can tell you how many times we've gone on the high streets or gone to Peckham, New Cross, Croydon, Stratford.
24 hours.
I'm telling you, day and night.
Day.
Giving out posters, flyers, selling
CDs.
tickets. I used to sell tickets. I'll drive north, east, west, south. I'll drive outside London to deliver tickets. That was the way.
So, pause there.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is exactly where he's at. So the reason I called him in 2011 to say, you got something, man, is exactly because of this. You know, back then we used BlackBerry. I had one, and that was what he was using to promote. He'll upload on the profile, he'll send broadcast messages. And at that time, I wasn't sleeping, like 12 midnight, I'll probably be online or something. And this guy would just upload a picture of himself somewhere in London with a poster of Wizkid. And so I started messaging him. I'm like, bro, are you actually in Hammersmith? He's like, yeah, I just put up some posters.
And I'm about to go deliver tickets.
So that's when he goes out to put posters all around London and deliver tickets till morning. So that's why I called him to say, bro, is this show yours? It wasn't a show. He was only selling tickets on behalf of the show promoters. But he had already put his face out there as the main guy. Yeah. So when I started speaking to him, I was like, bro, you're already the guy. So you can do this yourself too, because you are now the person that we all build relationships with, the artists build relationships with. The people buying tickets buy physically from him by driving around. Bro, it's that time.
What I was going to say is, do you remember, I think it was Clubhouse, where there was like there was a debate about Afrobeats. You were in that room, yeah. I think that's when I first heard you. And you were defending him, and everyone was like, "Why is this one defending Smade?" It's like, because you lot are talking about stuff you don't know.
They don't know the journey,
and a lot of people don't know.
We haven't told the story enough. Yeah. And I think people that should be telling the stories.
Those are minimum. There was a video.
So talking about investors,
this next one is mad.
It's crazy.
Not necessarily financial investors.
Those are crazy messages.
We're talking about people that the creatives, the people behind the creatives, the managers.
Yeah, look at that.
The production side of things, like the videographers.
Should I tell you? I know he doesn't want to dwell on the negatives a little bit. That's why he's moving on. But I'll tell you the most painful one for me was one of those messages. I opened it and I scrolled up. To just after the first Afronation. And this young black woman was praying for him and his family, saying, thank you for creating Afronation and making us feel so proud and welcome, the safe space. And just scroll down from that.
She had made up words. She made up words. And
she came and she was one of the people that had now started to rain curses and direct targets at his kids. I looked at that message and I'm like, I don't even think she remembered that she put a blessing message up and a picture of herself with her friends.
But do you know what I don't get?
Yeah.
I get that like you might not understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I get you might be annoyed.
Yeah.
I get that you're frustrated. But
Yes.
it's the way you go around things. And then these are the same people that will say stuff like, God bless me, or there's evil people in this world, or like, but you're one of them because what you're saying is evil. Like the thing is, there's people I might not like,
but there's just some things
but there's some things I would never say to them. Do you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't come out of my mouth. Like,
listen, I was depressed from that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I don't. Yeah, no, stuff like that.
And Nigerians is different as well.
What God said to me then, because that was when I found God the most, because I became more prayerful. Like,
you have to with them kind of messages.
I thank God again for Shopsy. You know, he was always coming around my house. We would work out in the garden. It was making me remember who I was and where I was coming from.
Your job is.
So, like, having the right people around you is key. People like Dombazi, you know, having great friends. Whiskey called me, checked up on me, came around. Davido would call me. Olamide would call me. We were crying. Like, this Kids Daniel would call me. Like, Tiwa, we had conversations. So, like, what kept me going was the relationships that I had. Because a lot of people left. A lot of people that I called friends, they're not even here today anymore. But when I heard the word continue from my prayers and my fasting, because I pray a lot, and he knows how we encourage each other to, like, always put God first. And when I continued, and was when I went back to my holy book, my Bible, the Smade Bible, and one of the plans I've had in those books came up, Smade Lounge. And in 2 years, from that word continue to serve, continue to be who you are, was what made me now be the man now sitting on this hot seat. Because I continued. I didn't stop. I didn't think about the negativity. I didn't think about the hate. I just used those things to build myself back up. You know, so there goes the comeback for Afro Nation. Now we're doing Miami, Portugal again this year in more greater numbers than the other one doing the pandemic. In greater numbers.
Me?
Yeah, me. So now we've created Smade Lounge. Smade Lounge is 1 year, 4 months old, and we've done crazy numbers. And we've had at least 95% of every African artist that's been in the UK visit that lounge. And he's doing a lot for the culture, putting food on the table for people. You know, we have over 120 staffs, but front of house, you know, on the background, the creatives, the DJs, the securities, the cleaners, you know, putting food on the table for people. You know, at the end of the day, it's charity work we're doing here.
Service. It's customer service, man.
It's service. So understanding our position and me continuing, it's not like I had the money. I had to sell my cars and sell properties to put that together because I knew that we cannot break now. We cannot fall now. Because what the devil was doing during Afronation and the pandemic was trying to, like, you know, blind us.
Because it was the
from
beginning.
Seeing. Yeah. But now I hope people can see what this is doing. Because from the start we announced it, it's always been negativity. It's like, it's not going to happen. Even when you get to this level, it's still not going to happen. But being a marketing student, I've learned how to turn and flip things around, like, you know, to my own advantage. So I thank God for holding me down. I thank my good friends and brothers and family, my wife, my kids. That's why it's always good to hold on to something. You know, I held on to my family. I held on to my 4 kids. You know, I had a 4-1 during the pandemic.
During the pandemic? Your mom was busy. You get me?
All 4 during the pandemic?
Oh, no.
All 4 during the pandemic.
One more.
I was like,
Where are you from? I mean, give this guy some tequila. He needs some tequila. No, on a serious note, you know, it was a very, very challenging period. like I wouldn't pray for my enemy
Yo,
to go through what I went through. Even with
Facts.
these messages, you've only seen two. I was getting thousands in my DMs, in my Twitter, my Instagram.
It was
No.
Waking up on Twitter.
I think it was a blessing and a
crazy.
curse because, you know, the same way, like what you said, receiving the glory and also the backlash, the hate. But when the hate comes, people don't know how to behave themselves. People will just come and, you know, stun you with whatever comes through their head. You know, but people were in pain. A lot of people lost their jobs. People were also grieving.
Absolutely.
People were losing families.
Absolutely.
So, but understanding them made me stronger.
Yeah, it was a bad time, but at the same time, like, I just want to throw this out there. It's not an excuse to use you as a punching bag. So,
I think for a lot of people, and people don't talk about it well, is the pandemic was something that was alien to everybody. It was not only alien to organizations and companies, and then to individuals. We had never experienced anything like that before. Afro Nation, for me, one of the reasons I'm super gassed about Afro Nation was when I saw the first one and I knew what they were trying to do and put Afrobeats and Afrobeats artists on the biggest stages that we probably didn't have, I knew this thing had to survive. So when the pandemic came and the negativity was around it, knowing him personally and some of the great people that are working around Afro Nation and what their dreams were, I'm just begging that, God, I beg you, man, we don't lose this. Think about it. So there's Afro Nation 2019, August. We've had in 2022, we had Puerto Rico, we had Portugal, and Ghana.
Oh, so was the second? It was the second one that
so
was
we
after
had
the pandemic.
two in 2019, and
Okay.
then 22 was three. 2022 is
So
three.
it was Portugal and Ghana
first.
Oh
First.
yeah, and then
So-
lockdown.
Then lockdown.
Oh, okay.
And then lockdown was
Yes.
2020, where Puerto Rico was the one that finished.
That was the one that really caused the trouble.
Yeah, that was the one that made.
So if you're looking at what's happened since it came back last year, and even before then, look at how many major stages Afrobeats artists have now headlined because of Afro Nation.
And I'll be honest with you, that's what's riding Afrobeats for us. When you go to different continents and put up the
And you're
biggest
promoting.
stages, and you put up our biggest superstars, of course our music is going to travel.
It's going to travel.
Our live events is what's making
Absolutely.
Afrobeats go crazy right now, the live events. You have to think about it. We never used to have live events of this magnitude.
Yep.
Or
To showcase our talents.
Across the world, anyway.
Yeah.
In Nigeria. But
Now we are traveling to different continents. We're going to America, Miami. We have Portugal, we have Ghana, and we're going other places. So this is what's going to actually spread.
And now Burna Boy's
You know,
just
the
done the
gospel of the
Caribbean tour.
Afrobeats.
He did stadiums in Jamaica, I think Trinidad and Tobago, and one other country, Antigua or something, in December. And now you're having people that don't know anything about Afrobeats make the mistake of buying a ticket to come to an Afro Nation and see a Burna Boy on stage.
Man said made the
You're
mistake.
a mistake. You're finished. You're going to be hooked for life.
I saw him in Stockholm in November.
That's it.
Shut down. I think the venue holds 12,000
Yeah,
people.
and that's his second time of that venue in less than 12 months.
Shout out to Burna Boy, man. That guy is probably one of the baddest.
It's
performers
crazy.
Yeah, before
Yeah, he's
the
cold.
world.
Yeah, he's
in
cold.
the world,
It's
not
crazy.
just Africa, in
He's-
the world right now. So that's an
an
example.
ambassador.
That's an ambassador. You know, these guys, they put in work, and the amount of time I've seen them come from, like the same way you guys are saying you probably know me from years back. I've seen these guys and they put in work. So respect to them. What they're doing, how they're representing our continent.
Yeah, we feel. I feel
I
proud.
don't
We feel
think
proud.
I don't think anyone else is doing
Do you know?
what they're doing.
Do you know what's dope about Afrobeat? Yeah, I mean the Afrobeat scene, especially in the UK and Nigeria. It seems like it's not even seems like it is like everyone came up at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know like the same way with us, man? It's like there's 3 shots. Then
Yeah.
we knew Mo the Comedian.
Yep.
Then we
Stormzy,
knew
Majaba,
so-
Cryptical, like everyone,
Yeah,
just
like-
everyone,
so
the
everyone
C's
has
just
like ascended.
ZZ.
Yep.
ZZ, for example, like so everyone's ascended at the same time. So now we can sit back and be
So
like, all
many
right,
people.
3 shots have done Royal Albert Hall, ZZ's done this, Mo's done, but it's like we've all come up at the same time ish. So the same with Afrobeat is like you guys together have kind of obviously come up separately, but then come together.
Yep.
But then you've known a Wizkid when he's first come to the UK.
Yep.
Then Burner, Davido, and
That's how
now
I met him.
everyone's doing this and like. So now you are at the top.
Yeah.
There's no hate because you're now saying, "I remember you. We're cool. I'm gonna bring you in. You're gonna bring me in."
When I met Smade, we talked about this on my podcast the other day. I got a call to come interview Ice Prince in Dagenham to say, boy, that's my neighborhood. So I'm leaving work now. Jumped on the train, got to Dagenham. I went to the barber. He was in the barber shop. So I just said, hey, bro, I came to interview. He said, cool. Let me finish my haircut and you can drive me to the house that I'm staying because I'm staying with my friend. So I said, cool. We got in the car. I'm telling my friend, bro, it's Ice Prince. It's heavy. We got to the house now. I walked in and his boy Wonder Wizkid playing games in the living room, just chilling. I said, 2 for the price of 1. Set up camera. Those interviews with Wizkid and Ice Prince today are pretty much the most iconic interviews ever. Every year, people still bring clips of it out because that was the first time they ever heard them speak. And I was in the living room just interviewing.
Is that the one Wizkid's crossing his legs on the chair?
Where he's sitting down and that's his sitting room.
Yeah.
So whilst I was interviewing him, this guy walks in, he's like...
Oh, we're in your house?
In his house.
Oh.
So it was like, who are these guys? Like, they've got camera lights in my house. I don't know these guys. You're like, listen, bro, no vex. But this interview, we go do. That's how we met.
I was about to kick them out.
He was about to kick us out.
Leave your own house. Oh, yeah, leave your own house,
How
man.
can I come into my living room and
And
set
they
up
set up
camera?
camera.
Everybody, get out. So it was
And the
like,
incredible thing about that day was the fact that we went into that place to interview Ice Prince. We interviewed the rising star who had just 1 or 2 hits, Wizkid. But we also met the guy who they were staying with, who was their friend, but was a budding promoter in the scene at the time. So at that time, he built relationships where they were staying in his house. So now that Wizkid is doing 60,000 and whatever, that night that I went to interview him, Smade had brought him and Ice Prince to host a Governor Bar less than 200 capacity at the time.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That is mad.
So that's why we're crazy
That is
now.
real.
That was the first time we ever picked the microphone.
Picked a microphone in the UK.
In the UK and Ice Prince, basically.
That is, yeah.
And that goes on to so many other artists that, putting them on, has just been my joy afterwards. Like, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy, seeing talents grow and evolve to become superstars. And that's why we all have to invest in the younger ones coming out. Because if we can, be behind great artists to become mega superstars, like, the top 5 or top 10 artists from Nigeria, then we can do more. There's still a lot more talents in Africa. Great talent. So we all need to, invest in one another. We all need to understand the level where we are. And it's not just us. It's not just the creatives, not just you guys, not just me. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, you need to continue to let people know who they are and the position they have to play in where we are going. Because everybody has a part to play.
Yeah. That's right.
So I want to wake everybody up with every opportunity that I have to tell everybody to look at themselves in the mirror and think about how they can contribute to this journey. Either you have a 9 to 5 or you don't even have any interest in this. However you can support goes a long way. I've been a victim of people throwing stones and almost getting rid of me. It was like, it's a miracle to be here. Yes. The things I was thinking about them days, them times, when people were saying all of these things, they didn't think about me. They were just having a good time online.
The craziest thing is those people have come to another Afro Nation
100%.
and been dancing
And those people
and forgot what they've said.
No, they didn't forget.
Like Shopsy
They
said,
didn't forget.
they
They said it.
Shopsy said, a huge percentage of them were praising me.
Yeah.
Just 8 months
just
before.
about a few months ago, for them to turn around and do a U-turn
In the same DM.
Oh God!
No, bro,
crazy.
trust
For
me.
Do you know how mad that is?
When people
That's
get
crazy,
Just
bro.
scroll up, you know.
In the same DM.
Just scroll up, you see.
Bro, we've had these conversations where, like I said, I've been in situations where I've had people that have said one thing and then have said something else and then have gone and said something else. And it used to baffle me. I'll never forget. So, when I was living out, remember when I was living out in Australia, wrote a book. You know, I was living in my dad's house. And so I moved to Australia, lived with my mum, wrote a book while I was out there. I've come back and cool, I put my book online for sale or whatever. So what's happened is, as I've advertised my book, bear in mind, this is 2015, 2016, early. Put my book online or whatever for pre-order. I didn't understand the way PayPal and all of those things worked. So one of the rules with PayPal and stuff, you couldn't do pre-orders on certain things. So what's happened is I put pre-orders. When I say within 7 to 10 days, I sold over 1,000 copies of my book at £19.99. So there's literally, PayPal's going and put a freeze on the money essentially. But here's the catch. So the way the money was set up or whatever, I was going to take that money and continue printing the books and send everyone a copy of their book or whatever. So I'm in a bit of a bind now because bear in mind, I don't have money like that at this point. So PayPal's holding the money and everyone needs their books essentially. So the way PayPal would work was, so basically they're like, we review this every 180 days. So it's a high risk account and we do a review every 180 days. I'm sitting there like, who has 180 days
to wait?
So people are waiting for their books or whatever, and then the emails start coming in, and people start talking fraud. Bro, stressing at the time. And bro, I had to say to PayPal, you know what? If you're not going to give me the money, send it back. Because I was like, that's the best I can do. Because I was like, the minute people latch onto this and it becomes that, I'm finished. Bro, I had to get... And at the time, you need the money. I sent back over 20-something thousand pounds. At the time, bear in mind, I'm living in a box room at my dad's house. I was like, yo, I had to send the money back because I was like, and the emails that start coming in and whatever. Stress. Because people cannot wait to slander you. And I've been in situations, you know what I mean, where people have said stuff, about my mother, my this and that. And people have no idea how that affects you because when people have decided that you're a bad person, they don't care anymore. They're allowed to say whatever because they're like, that's a bad person. It's not even a human being. And they will say stuff. With my mother, people putting pictures of my mum's face on a wheelie bin. I'll never forget this. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll never forget that person's prominent person. To this day, you know what I mean? That always speaks on certain things. Never forget this. You know what I mean? Little things like that, which she was talking about my mother going back a couple of years, but stuff like that you never forget because for them it's a little bit of banter. You know what I mean? They're blowing off some steam or saying whatever they want to say. But for you as a person, you're like, I'll never forget that. That is something that will sit with me for the rest of my life. And what was crazy for me is my mum's on social media. So my mum was on my Twitter, my Instagram and stuff. So when I would go through stuff like that, she would see certain things. So you know what I mean? And it's crazy because then my mum would worry about me more than she didn't it wouldn't affect her about herself more than it would affect her about me. You see what I'm saying? So she's worried about me. You know how African parents are as well, because now they're worried about you. Because he's looking at like, these people want to kill you. That's
they're
how,
going to attack you. Know what I mean?
And I think for me, that's kind of what hurt me the most, because it put her in a position where now she's proper worried, you know what I mean? Because she can see this stuff in real time, and she's seeing people saying this, where we can differentiate between what's banter and what's not, or someone actually meaning.
And the social media attacks within our culture, specifically Afrobeats most of the time, people don't follow the news. They follow the comments. So if there's a ton of negative comments, they're just going to jump into that and start going with the theme of the comments by not even knowing what the original story is. So you'll be surprised to know that a huge percentage of the people that probably were criticizing you and criticizing you, they didn't even order the book or buy the tickets to Afro Nation, but they're just like, you know what? This guy's a scapegoat, man.
I saw bare of that, man. Couldn't have done it to me, though. So why are you talking then?
Because you didn't order the ticket.
You didn't buy a ticket, man.